embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue. It's on assholes like you. Why don't you get out of here?
GOP gun on people. GOP.
He has a lot to say.
It is absolutely wrong. In fact, it is insane. The governor talks about mental health. It is insane that we allow an 18-year-old to go in and buy an AR-15. What the hell did we think he was going to do with that? This one is on us.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Gov Abbot, who says now is not the time to make this political?
Now is the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Santa Fe High School was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after El Paso was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Midland, Odessa was the time to stop the next shooting. And in each case, we say this isn't the time. Now is the time, like literally right now. That's why I'm here. That's what we want as a state. That's what I want as a parent. I've got 3 kids who are in high school and middle school and elementary school. That's what they want. And I face their judgment and my conscience and ultimately my maker for what I do when I have the chance to change this.
The Democrats are in charge. They are the majority. What are they doing? What have they ever done? They had a supermajority in the past. What did they do? They got a slim majority now. What are they doing? Blame the Republicans. The fraudulent, lying, scam Republicans who are the Democrats' brothers in arms. The duopoly. Is Beto O'Rourke putting on a show just like typical American politician? Probably. Can't read his mind. But I say again, the Democrats are in power. What are they doing? The Republicans are the minority, and yet they're changing all these laws all over the country. Taking rights away, restricting what you can do, telling schools what they can do to protect their kids. School wants to have masks. Big government stepping in and saying, no, you're not allowed to decide for yourself. You don't get freedom in America. Right. They can do all that as the minority. But the Democrats in the majority, what are they doing? Blaming the Republicans. Right. And as for what can be done as far as gun safety, well, let's listen to the Democrat mouthpiece.
Shootings are preventable. We don't need thoughts, we don't need prayers, we don't need your deepest condolences, we don't need your most fervent sympathies, we need action. If you are not as angry as Beto, you are doing it wrong. If you're going to get to this after the Senate recess, you are doing it wrong. If you're going to wait on Republicans to find a conscience, you are doing it wrong. These kids died because no one did anything to stop it after the last mass shooting. This is our warning today. So 2 things should happen here. Democrats in charge should bring any and every bill to the floor for a vote, which I believe Leader Schumer is in the process of doing right now. If these Republicans consider dead kids a necessary sacrifice to make the NRA happy, then make sure they're on record. Make sure everyone knows. Make sure to tie those dead bodies to the people on the right who refuse to do anything to save them. And it's not as if nothing can be done. Pass a federal red flag law. Raise the age to buy guns to 21. Close the Charleston loophole, which allows gun purchases to move forward by default after 3 business days, even if a background check hasn't been completed. Confirm an ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Director. Pass H.R. 8, the Universal Background Checks Act, a bill that 90% of Americans support. 90%. There is a problem when 90% of Americans support something while 0% of Republican elected officials do. And that problem is that these Republicans are not representative of their constituents. They represent the gun lobby. And at some point, Republican voters have a decision to make if ostensibly they don't want more kids to get slaughtered. They have to decide if voting for people who simply refuse to reject the gun lobby is worth more people dying at grocery stores and malls and concerts and churches and movie theaters and elementary schools.
To any of my conservative subscribers listening right now, I want to make a final point here. The lack of action regarding these school shootings from the Republican Party. I mean, I didn't mince words calling out the Democrats on their inaction. It takes two to tango. But right now, I'm talking about Republicans. The lack of action regarding school shootings from the Republicans absolutely solidifies in my mind that the Republicans and many who support them do not actually care about life. All this pro-life talk and, we got to save the children and it's murder and the poor babies. It's bullshit. A bunch of babies were slaughtered, and it's not the first time that it's happened. And the Republican Party is not out there changing laws, pushing for some kind of a something to address it. All they're doing is focusing on, freedom and our rights, and they're coming to take our guns away. If they really cared about human life, they would have the same level of enthusiasm to protect these children from these school shootings as they do about abortion. Look at all the laws being changed all over this country, restricting freedoms, restricting the freedoms of women and their bodies. Some want to go all the way to conception. The moment of conception, they have motivation to go and restrict what a woman can do, forcing her to have a child if she doesn't have the money to travel and get the abortion somewhere else. They go through all that trouble to save a group of cells. No heartbeat, no brain, just a bunch of cells. If that was really done in good faith, out of genuine concern for life, then I'd expect a lot more energy to preserve the life of the children in schools. But the fact that they will play games and manipulate their base into a black and white perspective. Either they're coming to take your guns, or we do nothing. We do nothing because the only alternative is for them to take your guns, right? That makes no sense. Why would they make such a dishonest argument? Why would they focus on coming to take your guns narrative that they know is a great fear-mongering tactic? Why would they do that? If they really cared about human life, they would prioritize taking action to protect the children, right? Certainly they would preserve the right to bear arms. Republicans would not be pushing to take away our guns and disarm the public, right? So why are they presenting things as such, as if that's the only choice? The only choice is take away the guns or do nothing. There's nothing in between. There's no Republicans pushing for a conversation about what are the options that make sense. What are the options? Do we need to be better with background checks? Do we need better gun detection technology? Can we use technology for this? Maybe there's a device. I mean, we have metal detectors, of course, but there's other technology out there. But have you heard any kind of conversation like this being a major narrative from the Republicans or right-wing media? Do they spend more time fear-mongering about they're coming to take your guns? Or do they focus on taking action to protect the children, talking about different ideas, pushing for different ideas? We've seen people like Ben Shapiro, they'll fundraise, right? We're going to fundraise, we're going to fight back, da-da-da. Which right-wing media influencer, elite, multi-millionaire is out there organizing and fundraising to do something, anything to protect children? Versus how many of them are pretending as if the only option is to take away the guns? Either take away the guns or do nothing. How many on the right are pretending as if those are the options? How many of them are exploring different ideas? How many are being like Steven Crowder, making statements today about they not wanting to have guns to protect against men with guns? Meanwhile, in blue states, they have police officers in the schools with guns. So who is Steven Crowder? Is he talking about red state? Did that school not have a police officer in it, in that red state, that gun-free state? Why is it in deep blue states you have police officers in schools there to protect the children, and in red Texas, either they didn't have any or wasn't effective? Right now, Massachusetts, blue Massachusetts, is talking about enhancing their security in schools to keep the kids safe. For years, I have noticed that security has been enhanced in schools in blue states. Back in the day, I used to volunteer at schools. I would speak to the kids, try to motivate them and steer them on the right path. And at first, it was pretty easy. And then over time, it started getting more and more difficult. They want to do all kind of background checks and all this kind of stuff just to get on campus, right? That's not how it was when I was a kid. That's what they're doing in blue states. Blue states, they're putting guns in schools to protect the kids. But rather than Steven Crowder pushing to keep these kids safe, he's more focused on putting out anti-liberal content, being contrarian to the left and the Democrats. Right. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. You are not pro-life. You are a tribalist reacting emotionally to people who are playing with your emotions for their personal profit. Unplug.